Boosts. Kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub. It's been a disappointing evening here at King Power Stadium. It's finished Leicester 0, Leeds United 1. There was a wonder save at the end from Ilian Meslier that has stopped Leicester from nicking a point right at the end through Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I'm Don Bates. We've got Liam Moore and Jerry Taggart in the studio alongside me. Matt Elliott is still in the press box as well. The three of us, the three of them and myself, will look to assess tonight's defeat and look ahead maybe to the game next week. But we'll start with you, Jerry. Obviously, disappointing evening.
Yeah, obviously the result's disappointing. If I'm being honest, I think Leeds were a better team in the second half and probably deserved the win. You know, you talk about the world-class save. When you've got something to hold on to, as precious as a potential away win at the league leaders, then you're going to try everything within your power to hold on to that, and that's what Meslier did. He pulled off, a great save. Great header from Dewsbury-Hall. He's under severe pressure. Just the fact he got it on target, and I jumped the fullback, was amazing in itself. And then another amazing bit of football with a keeper, saving it on the line and pushing it onto the post and then out. But you have to say that was just about it, really, wasn't it? In the second half, there wasn't a lot else to really shout about in that second half.
Yeah, I agree. Leicester huffed and puffed throughout the second half, but Leeds looked really comfortable. They got the goal and then they seemed to drop a little bit into a low block. And for me, the most important tactical work that they did in the second half was the two strikers did a job on Harry Winks. You stop the service going into Harry Winks and then you stop Leicester playing, and I think that's what they did for the majority of the second half. Obviously the one chance at the end I think was the only shot on target, so all in all it was a perfect away performance from Leeds.
Matt Elliott, obviously you saw it closest on co-commentary. Do you think Leicester would have deserved that point had Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall managed to head it in? It is, you can't blame Kiernan at all, can you really? It's just unbelievable from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, it's a great save, isn't it? But I mean, the game was finely balanced throughout, but I'd have to agree with the boys that Leeds had the better of the second half. They came out not so much out the blocks in the second 45, but it just got into the game. Leicester struggled to get any real rhythm, which was surprising really, because you thought, they finished the first half the stronger of the two. Leeds started excellently, as you would have expected, and it was a good contest, wasn't it? But a good point that Liam makes there, that they made it difficult for Winks to get on the ball. They did in the first half, to be fair. Winks was exceptional. He was so bright, he was buzzing around everywhere, and his awareness was good and his touch excellent. But he wasn't quite as sprightly, shall we say, in the second half, and they nullified that with a little tactical employment. But Leicester just generally looks around. There was more energy from Leeds, I'd have to say. They looked properly up for it. They had the bit between the teeth. A good side. There's a lot of pace in the team as well. A fair amount of quality throughout, and Joe Rodon at the back. They were determined. Backed supremely well by their supporters, about half of which are still in the stadium now, shouting and chanting and enjoying the evening. So I don't know, it just seemed that Leeds seemed a little bit, I hesitate to say it, but a little bit more, not desperate, but a little bit more determined maybe. Maybe there was more in it for them tonight. Subconsciously Leicester perhaps didn't bring their proper game to proceedings tonight. I thought I was disappointed in the two wingers. In the first half they were exceptional. They looked like match winners, Mavididi and Fatawu. Second half, very fleetingly, very occasionally, they produced something, but generally they took the easy option a little bit, Fatawu in particular. Leicester's game at Cassidy, didn't quite fit in tonight, to be honest, and Dewsbury-Hall had his hands full. Whenever they got in positions, Leeds was so quick to get back sharply and make a challenge and intercept or put a bit of pressure on. Leicester never really got going, and Joe's mentioned it, and I did regularly in the commentary. Meslier was not tested at all until that very last couple of minutes or so, and you've got to expect a bit more.
You know, they went with a game plan, Leicester, that's worked for them so well. Tonight, obviously, it hasn't worked so well, and that's fine. You know, it just hasn't come off for them. But I think sometimes in game, you have to read those signs. And yes, there was a spirited fight back after Leicester went behind, and then, you know, Leeds went on, you know, set up on that low block, as Liam calls it. That's the new sign for defending deep and soaking it up. But they look comfortable for the most part, even though Leicester bossed the game for the majority of that in Leeds' half of the pitch. Leeds were relying on the counter attack. But sometimes you've got to read the signs on the pitch as individuals and then do something about it and just do something different. And I think for too long in the game, they went through the process, and the process suited Leeds for the most part, apart from obviously at the end there.
It's really hard to obviously criticise what's been working so well throughout the season, but exactly. As Jerry said there, it was one personnel out and one in to do the same role. I felt like at the 70-odd minute mark, they could have seen that it wasn't working and maybe tried something else. You know, we've seen Vards dropping into like a 10 position, even deeper sometimes in the first half, and then he comes off and then Nacho goes on and he's doing the same thing, and I just felt like there was an opportunity to get something in behind. I think I mentioned it at half time, just to stretch the pitch, just to give them something to think about, and then I think, well, me and Tags was watching the game there and was kind of calling for Katie to come on, just some fresh legs again, and just to ask a different question. I think throughout the night Leeds have done a great job. They've been in their shape and they've done really well in that, but I do think the two centre-halves come away and think it wasn't the hardest game in the world. I think they would have prepared for a lot more running in behind, a lot more activity around their 18-yard box, but today everything was just in front of them, and as a centre-half you come away from that and thank you very much. That's a lovely night for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the two, I can't remember the two centre-halves getting turned. And Leeds played a pretty high line until they took the lead, and then they just went defensive. But you know, there was opportunities in the first half, especially for Leicester to exploit that high line. You know, they have the pace and the power and the quality to be able to do that. They just didn't quite get that part of the game right tonight.
Ampadu and Kamara did a really good job in the middle of Leeds' midfield, Matt, tonight, didn't they?
I thought right throughout Leeds team they did a good job. Eventually I thought the fullbacks were struggling for their lives in the first 45, but they got a grip of things a little bit with a bit of assistance from in front of them. But two centre halves, cruised it. Roden was a standout performer. Two boys in midfield, they complement each other well, don't they? They just, you know, do a solid workman-like job in there, but a bit of experience between the two of them. Kamara, Ampadu, I know he's relatively young, but he's been around. And the four boys ahead of them have got that little bit of class and certainly pace out wide in the extreme. Somerville was a constant threat all night, and they looked a good outfit. They did a bit of a job on Leicester, but I have to, again, not just for the sake of it, I have to agree with the boys. I fully expected McAteer to come on in place of Cassidy at the time. Okay, I could see the sense. Ricardo was having a good evening. He was probably Leicester's best player, I would say, on the night, but from a defensive stroke midfield position. But he's not one who's going to go and stretch the opposition or go and make those runs in behind. You know, good a player as he is, McAteer was sort of the ideal man to try and provide something a little bit different. You know, Cassidy, I know they said he's box-to-box player. I'm not seeing real evidence of that just yet. Certainly not in the likes of Wilfred Ndidi. He's been sort of transferred into that role where he bursts forward, doesn't he? Breaks the line, gets beyond the centre forward, causes problems. In that respect, Dewsbury Hall was a bit more subdued tonight, I thought, and as a result of that, Leicester found it very difficult to penetrate. Yeah,
they did. They'll be frustrated, but I think Liam, thinking back to the Hull game that Leicester lost here, I think that was the 6th game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was disappointment. They went into an international break then, but they came back and then they won 9 in a row after that. There was disappointment, but I don't think Enzo was overly disappointed, if you know what I mean. He said to the players, "Okay, it's happened. We move on from it."
Yeah, I fully expect that to be the same as well. There's a very clear process here. Even in the last minute, I think one of the players tried a big long ball, and that was the only, well, as much animation as I've seen from Enzo, frustrated. It's like, that's not the way that we do things. It didn't work on the night. I can bet my last dollar on it that on the next game they turn up and they go the exactly the same way. They'll try and break the team down, they'll stay patient, and they'll try and create opportunities. There's a lot to be said after today in terms of, in the meeting room, a lot of work to be done in different ways that they can break teams down in different areas of the pitch, whether they press you, whether they drop off. But all in all, like, this has worked very well up until this point. Yeah. It's a blip on the road, but I'm sure they'll get straight back to it next match.
Yeah, you know, Enzo will learn a lot from this game as an individual himself. You know, in the way his team played or the way he set his team up. But I'm not saying he's going to go change the things. He won't, because of what he's done already. And it's, you know, all right. The gap's down to 11 points now from third place. You know, let's start
after 15 games.
After 15 games, you know, let's get real. So there's no need to start panicking and, you know, throwing the baby out of the bathwater, so to speak. You know, Leicester are still in a really good position. I think sometimes, you know, he's pretty new to this management lark himself and setting his teams up in this way. So he'll learn a lot from tonight as well. But the players will be disappointed that they've let that unbeaten run slip. And sure as eggs are eggs, when they go to Middlesbrough next week, then they'll be on it.
Hopefully so. Let's get some reaction pitch side. Ricardo is talking to Chris Parrott.
I knew they were good in transitions. I think we did that, well with that, but that's football. Sometimes it happens. I think we did a lot of good things in the game, but yeah, disappointed with the result.
Two moments, I guess, for Leicester: the shot that hit the bar and that incredible save at the end. It could have been a different story.
Yeah, of course. If that ball goes in, it's a different game, but the keeper made a very good save. We had some chances, but it happens.
We thought that Leeds were going to be a quality outfit tonight, and so it proved. It felt, watching anyway, like a top-class game. How was it to play in?
Yeah, it was a good game. They have very good players. It was difficult to find space. We tried to keep the ball as much as we could. To control the game, to control the transition, to not give them chance to play, because if we give them space to play, they are very good players. And yeah, it was a very good game, but unluckily we lost.
Talk to us about your role tonight, and I guess this season. You seem to be everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah. Today, when Hamza come in, I played a little bit up, but yeah, just here to help and to do my best.
Enzo Maresca said pre-match that patience would be important and sticking to the plan. Are you pleased that even in defeat you were able to do that to the last whistle?
Yeah. Because we knew if we come in their game of transition would be worse for us, because we would run a lot and not control the game. And I think we were patient. Maybe we could be a little bit more even. But yeah, I think it was a good game. Sometimes it happens. That ball don't go in, and it makes a difference.
9 straight wins. I mean, it's been such an incredible run. I guess now how you react to this minor setback is going to be important.
It's the same. We will analyse the game. Even when we win, we analyse to see things we can improve, things we didn't do as well as we wanted. And this game will be the same. Of course, the disappointment will be there because we didn't get the result we wanted. But yeah, keep going. It's a long run and a lot of games to go.
Well played tonight.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
See ya.
That was Ricardo there speaking to our commentator Chris Parrott. Liam, what did you make of what he had to say? Again, it's kind of what we've been saying. They're not going to let themselves get, I guess, carried away with the defeat, are they? They know there's another game next week.
Absolutely. For me, you could see a lot from his response as well. Like, not too high, not too low. Understood the process, as we were speaking about before. He almost had a smile on his face. Obviously, deep down, he'd be gutted about the result, but I think it's just about, you know, staying on a level playing field. Unfortunately, today wasn't their day. They stuck to the process. They'll analyse it, as he said they do when they win, they lose, they draw, and it's on to the next one.
Yeah, it's a leveler, isn't it? It's just a bit of a leveler, that's all. It was going to happen. We all knew that was when. When was this from going to end? It was always going to be a good game, a tight game. This. We had another tight game not so long ago against Sunderland that went Leicester's way. Tonight it hasn't gone Leicester's way, and we can, you know, we're trying to pick the bones out of it. There wasn't that much between the two teams. The goal was conceded from a set piece, not an open play. So, you know, there's still lots of positives to take out of the game tonight. and as I say, nothing's lost.
Well, yeah, going on the goal, actually, Matt, that's a good point, Jerry, to bring it up from the set piece. Will they be disappointed in the nature of conceding that goal?
Well, I think pressure was sort of building a touch. They didn't come out very quickly in the second half. Leeds had the upper hand, and sometimes sometimes that can count for nothing. You can go against the odds, but pressure was building a little bit, and sooner or later maybe something's going to break for the opposition, and as it did there. It was a good ball in, well attacked by Leeds. Leicester were definitely a little bit static and on their haunches a touch as the ball came in. It was Byron, wasn't it,
Yeah.
that got the first contact. They reacted better. They were all moving goalwards. It could have been tucked away by 2 or 3 Leeds players, and Leicester were just sort of standing watching. I know it just happens that way sometimes in certain instances, but you weren't too surprised. And I think that's where Jerry's probably mentioning about reacting in game as a player as well. Sometimes tactical changes can be made from the sideline, but you sometimes got to try and alter things, boss things a little bit on the field of play itself. And I don't know, Leicester was sort of just drifting along, and really, until something negative was going to spark them into life, i.e. conceding a goal, and then Leeds were pretty efficient at seeing the game out, really. And in all honesty, I didn't really get the feeling that Leicester were going to get back into it. If Dewsbury's header had gone in, would have surprised me at the end, even when they were trying to push forward. And it was perhaps a bit of a reality check, if you like. It's probably a bit predictable to say that, but maybe it is a touch, because they've got a tough game coming up against Middlesbrough as well. They'll have to roll their sleeves up on that one and put in a performance, and just perhaps listen, in the long run it might do them a little bit of a favour. I know that sounds a little bit strange right now, but they might realise that yes, they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the division, but but it also might make them slightly aware that they're not streets ahead of everyone else, because some of the games have been pretty tight, haven't they? And Tags used the word leveller, and I think that's a fair remark, really. And over the course of the season, it might actually do a fair amount of good as well as the immediate harm.
Just on the goal, I'd be interested to get Matt and Jerry's take on the setup. It was a zonal defensive block, and Byram's got across the front with no contact at all. It'd just be interesting, obviously, 2 solid defenders take on what you would go with if you was the manager, because for me, defending statically in a block is harder, because they've got to run on you.
Because they've got to run, definitely. I think, first of all, forget about the setup. The ball, I think, is just in that little pocket between Jamie Vardy, and what it does, it drags Cassidy towards the ball. And as you say, Byron makes that run, and he's not being picked up by anybody, which, going back to my day, is sacrilege. Simple as that, and Matt's and Liam's by all accounts. So there you go. And sometimes these things happen, but the ball from Dan James is just right in the pocket there, and Byron's right straight on there. Jimmy Vardy, it's just straight over his head. He just can't get there, Jimmy. Even the slightest of touches, Leicester probably clear it, but they can't. And then after that, as you say, there's no one in and around the 6-yard box when the ball just falls to Rudder, and it's an easy tap in for him, because Cassidy, who's picking Rudder up, gets dragged towards the ball. But because Byron's got that run on everybody else, he's first to it. So yeah, we've been through this process many times about zonal marking and man-to-man marking. You need to have pressure on the guy attacking the ball. You can't be giving free headers away 7-8 yards out from goal.
Yeah, very, very disappointing, but Leicester, I'm sure, will move on. Still 11 points clear of Leeds United in 3rd place. We've got plenty more coming your way here on Fox's Hub, certainly over the next week or so. We're going to talk, obviously, about this game on Monday evening during extra time, and then we'll be back again in just over a week's time, rather. Of course, the game with Middlesbrough away from home. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff. That means you can join us from 2. And that podcast that we saw a little bit of a snippet of before the game is available for you on Sunday. Harry Winks in conversation with Jerry and Matt. Really good. Either listen or watch wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch it on Fox's Hub and on YouTube. A big thank you then to Matt Elliott tonight on commentary duty, to Jerry Taggart and Liam. Just finally, I hope you've enjoyed your debut with us on Match Day Live. We'd love to have you back again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully I can bring some luck along the way next time.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, no, you're not coming back now after what's happened tonight. No, it's smiling now. Leicester still 11 points clear of third place Leeds, albeit it was a disappointing evening at King Power Stadium. Good night, everybody.